Today for science, we're going to make a collection. And a lot of scientists use collections to learn about things. Some of them collect animals like butterflies to learn about them. And some people collect flowers. So a botanist is somebody who might want to know lots about flowers. They might make a collection, and you could be a botanist for the day too. So what I did is on my way to school, I stopped in my yard and I found some weeds that grow in my field. I found something that looks like a clover. You can see how it looks. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to preserve this so I can study it later. And that's how I do it. I'm going to use my magnifier to look at it closely. And I'm going to use a book. That's a science tool that we don't often use. And I'm going to use rubber bands. So for my book, I'm going to open my book and I'm going to put the clover inside one of the pages. So you have to make sure it's a book that your mom or dad doesn't need right away. It might be an old book that they're going to donate. And you can put it right inside like that and close it. And then I'm going to look at another flower. This is something you can see just in the half an hour that I drove it to school. It's wilted already because weeds don't work very well as cut flowers. This is called mustard. It's a beautiful mustard plant and it grows in wild fields. It looks nice and golden. So it's called mustard plant, and I'm going to put that in another place in the book like that. And I'm going to close my book. I also found some dandelions. This was a very small dandelion with other little seed heads. So I'm going to put the dandelions in my book on a different page. And then I found my favorite wildflower. It doesn't look very pretty when it's wilted, but I'm going to show it to you up close. It's a little tiny flower, and it's called a Scarlet Pimpernel. And it's my favorite one because it's kind of orangey pink and it has purple in the middle with a yellow stamen. It's really a beautiful little wildflower, but when you pick it, it doesn't look very pretty. So I always just get down and I look at it really closely with my lens so I can see how it looks. So I'm going to carefully put this one in my book. It's very tiny, so I think I'll put a few of them in there. I picked a few so I could see the leaves. And I'm going to try to dry these so I can study about them at a different time. And then I got to school. I looked around the yard, and I know there's lots of plants that you really like. Out in the courtyard by the stairs, I found a big dandelion. This one is big and healthy because it's close to the grass and it gets watered all the time, so it's really healthy. I'm going to put that inside my book also. And then some of you who like to play in the playhouse and make mud pies and flowers have picked the lavender. We have this now. It smells really good. It smells really wonderful. If you have lavender in your yard, it's really fun to smell and put in your bedroom at night. It's supposed to make you really relax. I'm going to put this lavender right inside my book. Then I looked around, and in the garden, the tomato plants are growing flowers. Do you see what they look like? These are going to turn into tiny tomatoes. There's lots of flowers, so I took these so you could see what they look like. They have 5 yellow petals, and each one of those could form a tomato. If you have a lot of these in your garden, sometimes what gardeners do is they take off a few of the flowers so the tomato will not be too heavy for the vine. But these are fun to watch. I'm going to put these in my book and dry them. And this is the one that's really, really soft. It's in our garden also. It's called Mexican Sage, and it's really soft. It's really pretty to feel and soft. You might have these in your yard too. Mexican Sage, and it has these sage-like leaves. But this isn't the kind of sage you eat. It's a decorative sage. I'm going to put this in my book also. And then I found 2 more. This is growing on the fence. It's actually a little tiny climbing rose, but this rose doesn't have any thorns. And this is the one when the wind blows, you get yellow petals everywhere. It looks like a yellow snowstorm. So I'm going to put this beautiful climbing rose into my book. My book's getting very thick with flowers. And the last one is the purple fence climber. I think it's called a Hardenbachia. I always have to ask Teacher Annie because she remembers the name, but I think that's what it is. And it's a purple vine that grows on the fence. And it's really a pretty little plant. I think I'll take off one leaf. No, I think I'll just bend it back so I can see it like that. I'm going to put it in my book like that to see if it'll look all right. So I'm finding a clean page for each one, and I have them all closed in the book like that. You see the pages? It's stuffed with flowers. And this makes a really good flower press. What I do is I put rubber bands around it because you want to kind of keep it very flat. I have these big rubber bands, but it doesn't really matter what size rubber bands, as long as you can get it around your book. And that keeps the book closed so your plants don't fall out. It also squeezes out all of the moisture because what we're trying to do is dry the plants. And that's why you use an old book, just in case some of the plants are a little bit juicy, then it won't hurt your book. But most of these were fairly dry. I don't think it'll hurt my book. So that's how you make a flower press. And then this is when it really takes a lot of patience. You have to put it someplace where you can just forget about it for a little while and enjoy fresh flowers. It's nice if you have flowers in your yard, you can cut and bring into your room or into your kitchen. It's nice to see flowers inside too if you have enough. Check with your mom and dad and see if there's a place where you could find flowers. And then in a few weeks, when these are all dry, you can take them out of your book and you can glue them onto a piece of paper and they make a pretty picture and they don't wilt. They look really pretty and usually they keep their color. So I'll keep this in my book and I'll mark it on my calendar to look in a couple weeks and we'll see if it indeed works as a good flower press. So I hope you can do this on a day when you have some flowers in your life.